Oh, well, yeah, that explains it.
Oh, yeah?
Look at cylinder number 8 right now.
Oh, seriously? Yep. Cold and rainy today. Well, we're back at it. How long has it been, bud? What, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Week.
Just a week?
Yeah, another week.
Okay. I guess I forgot. I always kind of lose track sometimes when we leave a project and then come back to it. But anyway, this is where we're at. We were about to pull the heads off and then realized that, I can see it right there, the headers are in the way. Like always, these daggone headers. I love the performance they give you, but they are a pain. And now we got to undo the exhaust and the headers and pull them out so we can get to those head bolts and get these heads off and get this thing fixed. Not much has happened, as you can tell, since the last time we were here. But I did want to show you one thing. I did build a shelf or a workbench. And what are those there, you say? Well, those are the new heads that are going on this car. Those heads right there are what we're hoping is going to fix our issue today. So I think it's about time to get started. What do you think, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Kind of cool to see it, what?
In that wheelie position sitting right now.
I know, right? It does look cool.
Yeah, that's too small.
Yeah, I thought it was 9.
It
It might be the thickness of your ratchet.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, that can do it.
Is that one working?
Yep.
Yeah. That 1/2-inch drive was just too thick. Let me see if it's turning up top.
Is it turning all up there?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, no, it's not turning, no.
Okay.
That's good.
Cool.
All right, finally. All right, let's get those head bolts off. Oh, good catch. There you go, broke it loose. All right, 15 more to go. Okay, we're about to pull the head off. Anxious to see what this looks like. Number 8 cylinder in particular. Bless you.
Yeah.
Holy cow, look at this rain. You guys can't see it on camera. It's cold, it's wet, it's 45 degrees. And we're out here trying to pull this head off. Just pry it up a little bit. There you go, it's loose. All right, you got it. All right, I'm gonna put the camera down and help him get this head out.
Please.
All right, I'm just gonna go straight up with it, okay? 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on, back down. There's a ground on the back of the head.
Oh.
Forgot all about that.
Whoops.
Yep. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, well, yeah, that explains it.
Oh, yeah?
Look at cylinder number 8 right now.
Oh, seriously?
That might.
Oh, that's just
Oh, well, that might be just because it ran off. Never mind.
no, that's a lot of oil.
That's
Holy crap, that's a lot of oil. There's a little bit of antifreeze in there, that's to be expected. But it doesn't mix with the oil. You see how much oil is literally laying in that cylinder? No wonder that thing fouls. Look at the tops.
Oh, that one's good.
The other ones, yeah. Look at the crud. What is this? Remember we had all that crud at the end of the spark plugs?
Yeah. That's it?
That's the same crusty stuff that was on the spark plugs. It's like we got I had a couple guys look at that, and they said, "Boy, you got a batch of bad gas or something," because they couldn't even explain why there was so many barnacles hanging off the end of the spark plug. Now, is there a ridge? A very light one, but nothing bad. But man, look at all that oil. Holy crap. I hope that was caused by the head and not by the rings, because we're in trouble if it is. How's our head look over here? There's number 8. Dark as night. Here, let me flip it around. Man, what a mess. A bunch of burnt oil caked on there. Just the other cylinders don't look too much better. Look at this. Look at this crustation on the end of the spark plug here too.
Yeah. Let's see.
Wow. What's going on? As much as we struggled with that passenger side header, that was actually the easy side. Now we got to fight this driver's side. Let me show you what we're up against. So you can see the steering shaft goes right through the middle of the header, so the steering shaft has got to come off so that we can pull the header out. And way down below there, midway down, we got to unbolt the collector. All of that just so we can get to these bottom head bolts right here, because there's just no way to get to them otherwise. That also means that this power steering pump that's bolted to the front of the head here has got to come off. It means the shroud had to come off, because there's bolts under here that you can't get to otherwise. It's just a really tight compartment. But that's what you get with a V8 Monza. Just about got it?
Not stuff. Does this part need to come off now?
Does it have to come off? It's got to slide forward, so is that nut still on down there?
No, that's off.
You got it off? Okay.
It's actually rotated. I didn't know if that little clamp.
No, clamp stays on. Nope, that stays on. It just, that allows you, with that bolt remove, that allows you to slide it forward and then pull it off of that back there, which you've done, and then it slides back off from down here.
What? Back? As in like that way?
Yeah, you got to pick this up away from the rag joint, since you have some leverage, to then pull it back towards the firewall to take the whole thing out.
I can't get it past that point. Up past that point, then. It's a problem.
It always gets stuck on something. There's a couple pins that stick out.
Yeah, it's stuck on those.
Yeah, if you use that pry bar, you might be able to. You're real close, dude. Got her loose.
Hopefully.
Yeah, she just pull. She pull straight out towards the back of the firewall. You're getting it, but I can try to.
Yep.
There you go.
There we go.
A little bit of leverage never hurt anybody.
One more.
One more pull.
Yeah.
Go for a different direction here. Whoopsies. There we are. Sweet. All that just so we can get the header out.
Yep.
All right, we now got to disconnect the header down at the collector. I had to get under here last time. You kind of pry up. Oh, but yeah, daggone it, we have to unbolt the block first. The engine mounts below. Yeah, there we go. Pick up the block a little bit. You should be able to pull it out now. Oh, except for the. Can you get around the dipstick tube?
Should be okay.
If not, you can pull the dipstick tube out. There you go. Sorta.
Lift up a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm trying. There you go.
Got it.
Sweet.
Cool.
Good job. All right. Now we can finally remove head number 2. What's the rest of that antifreeze? That's good. Have we got all the head bolts pulled out of this one, bud? Yeah, it looks like we do. Okay, yeah. Good. Let's get it out. Go ahead and grab the back. I'll grab the front. Ready?
Hold up.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
I lost it, sorry. All right, let's take a look at it. All right, 1, 3, 5, 7. Need some light. 7's one I know we had a lot of trouble with. It's pretty oily. Yeah, it's the worst one of the bunch. Head gasket itself looks okay though. Let's go look at the cylinder.
Yeah.
Number 1 was another one we had trouble with. That one's looking pretty dirty. Man, there is no crosshatch at all. These cylinder walls are just, look at that, there's more crud. Get that out of the way. What's this? Got a little bit of scarring. I mean, it's... Actually got some marks on that cylinder wall. I can't really feel it, but I wonder what that's all about. But you see that mirror finish?
Yeah.
No, it's not good. So, remember when this thing was running really rich for the first 4 or 5 days, the power tour? We were just dumping a ton of fuel down this thing until we got that carburetor adjusted correctly. And we just lost all that crosshatch, which we need for good ring seal. So even if we were to throw the other heads on here, I'm not sure how well that would work by itself.
Alright.
Yeah. I don't know, I gotta think it over, man. I mean, it's not a huge deal to pull this back out and then take it back to the machine shop.
A better one.
A better one, yes. One that actually does a real machine hone and doesn't look like a ball hone. And I'll probably might do a deck job as well. We got another 30 over block over there. Remember how we had a couple oblong bores in this one? Well, I know number 8 was one of them. I wonder now if number 7 was the other one, because that's the other one we had a little bit of a compression issue with. I don't really want to bore this over again, but we got another 30 over block over there and a good set of heads. And a good set of Keith Black pistons over there with some decent rods. Might just build a different motor altogether.
Hey.
I don't know, just brainstorming. I don't know.
We're getting our last.
Yeah, I mean, it's about winter time. Our time for driving this thing was about over anyway. So this gives us some time to think as to how we want to fix this thing the right way and not just patch it back together. Okay, well, we're not going to solve that in this episode, so I think that's probably where we're going to end it. Not exactly on the note we wanted to, but this is why we tore it apart. What a bummer.
I mean, planning on building the other one anyway.
What's that?
Planning on building the other one anyway.
Yeah, well, it's a good attitude. I'm sorry that it seemed to come down to this, but
it's not your fault.
No, I just sometimes wish I wasn't on such a budget and I could have bought a brand new carburetor to put on this thing that was already adjusted correctly and would have been probably tuned a little better.
Oh well.
But not that there was anything wrong with that carburetor. I know part of what happened. I never showed it on film, but when we first built that carburetor, the check ball and the check valve in that carburetor were stuck, like just fused in there really badly. And it took us a long time to get those things out. So we ended up kind of half rebuilding the carburetor. And we set the float levels correctly before we took care of the check ball issue. But to get the check balls out, we literally took that carburetor upside down. We're banging it on an anvil I got back there, and I never even thought about that. But that's what threw our float levels off. We were a little too hard on the carburetor. I should have checked the float levels again after banging that thing on a piece of metal to try to get the check ball out. And so we drove it with the first 5 days of power tour with way too much fuel dumping down these cylinders on a fresh rebuild, and it just totally eliminated all of our crosshatch. And it may have wiped a couple rings as well. I'm not convinced that those heads were that bad. They were dumping that much oil in there, so I don't know. The more I talk about it, I think the more we're looking at a rebuild.
Yep.
But lesson learned, right?
Sure.
We'll do it right. We'll do it right. Okay, guys. Not where I wanted to end this episode, but it is what it is. This is how you learn. And I'm sorry that Nathaniel's first motor that he built ended up with these issues. But again, I blame myself for trying to do this too quickly and on too much of a budget. And we took some shortcuts that we shouldn't have taken. So, all right, guys, that's it. If you guys like what you're watching, as depressing as this might be, hit that little like button up there. And if you want to know when the next episode's coming out, hit that little bell. And if you guys would just consider subscribing to our channel, we sure appreciate it. Take care, guys.